Let's go. Come on.
Welcome to the It's Me, Larry B podcast with Larry B and Nellie. Let's go!
Ice cream's touching your straw. Let me introduce you to the sauce. Let me introduce you to the sauce.
Hey everybody, welcome to the It's Me, Larry B podcast. Coming up next, Against the Odds with Darrin Jaquess. You're not going to believe this story. He was on the Carrollton bus crash that day, that tragic event, and we're going to hear his story coming up next. You're not going to believe what he did for a living for so many years after that. So tune in. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's me, Larry B. Welcome to the It's Me, Larry B podcast. We're here today with beautiful Nellie on Nolan Lake. Look at the view behind us. Amazing spot to shoot. Bear with us a little bit. We got some issues with lighting, and as you can hear the boats going by and blowers going, people cleaning up their leaves. So bear with us a little bit. We're doing the best we can. But we're here today. Our next guest is amazing. He's got a story. You'll notice it's a friend of mine, but we're going to have a few friends of mine, of ours, on the podcast as it goes. And we realize some of our friends got the most amazing stories. So we're going to share some with you today. Let me introduce you to Darrin Jaquess. Darrin. Darrin's here today. Big man, big personality, and he's got a cool story. It's not all happy life, but he's made it a pretty happy life, and that's kind of the purpose of this podcast, right? We're here to all grow together and kind of have some fun. But we're going to talk to Darrin today about how his life went and some of his stories, good and bad. And so tell us, like, growing up, was you born in Kentucky? Or?
I was not born in Kentucky. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. But a short time after birth, I moved back to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, where my mom is from. That's where she grew up, was born and raised. And shortly thereafter, Mom remarried, and we moved to the city of Columbus, Ohio. So I got a little bit of country boy, a little bit of city boy in me. I did have the most fun playing on the farms, on the tractors with my grandfather, wrestling hogs and things like that.
Wrestling hogs?
Yeah, wrestling the hogs.
He had some help. That's good. Big boy to go get them hogs. Some of them hogs can be big.
I wasn't always a big boy, though, so It took a while to get here.
It took a while. So you ended up in country at your grandpa's, right? You spent a lot of time on the farm there. You had a farm, I guess?
Yeah, Granddaddy farmed all his life until he's about 88 years old. So that was pretty interesting, pretty eye-opening to see how, that work goes into everyday life. You know, how it feeds our citizens.
It does, man, it does. The farmers, they don't get the respect or the pay they should. But that's another story for another day. It's a lot of hard work. I know a lot of farmers, and it's a lot to it. But so you get into farming, and then surely when you got to high school, you had ambitions to be a jockey or maybe play on the golf team.
I actually went to be the drum major in the band. So
did you? That's pretty cool. And then you played a little basketball.
Yeah, I played a little basketball. Growing up, and so after we moved back from Columbus, Ohio, when Mom and my stepdad split up, we moved back to Radcliffe, Kentucky, which is where my aunt and uncle were living. I had a cousin that lived there I was pretty close to growing up. So it made it easier for us to make that transition because I was the only boy, out of four.
Yeah.
And three sisters.
I
feel it.
Yeah.
I had three sisters.
Yeah. And they had their time with me, so I needed another male person around that, was into some of the things that I was into. So we moved to Radcliffe. I had aspirations of playing sports. You know, my cousin was playing football, basketball. You know, he was Mr. Jock, and I wanted some of that attention. And so as we moved there, I was an 8th grader, played football in 8th grade.
How tall were you in 8th grade?
I was about 5'7",
Okay.
5'8".
You had no idea you was going to be that
I had no idea I was going to be this tall. And I mean, I wasn't really a bookworm type of person, so I didn't really look or think about genetics, and didn't really know my father very well, how tall he was. I know my grandfather was pretty tall on my mom's side.
Yeah.
But, I didn't know where the height came from at that time, what side of the family it came from. But, my dad's 6'4". My grandfather, I believe, was like 6'6", 6'7".
My grandpa was 6'4". My dad was 6'3", and I ended up just a little guy at 6 foot. And then the funny story, man, when I snapped my leg off and they put it back together, then I was like 5'9.5".
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
They say you get shorter as you get older, or 5'11.5". I'm sorry. They say you get shorter as you get older, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I hadn't gotten any shorter yet. I still hit my head from time to time.
No, I see you walking.
A couple of doorways, so.
It's pretty wild. So now you're playing ball, right? Ain't that the day it started? So a lot of people don't know Darrin was in the Carrollton bus crash. So when y'all are going to a ball game, right? Because I mean, we talked about this, but I really don't know the whole story.
So the story was, and I'll give you a little backstory from, before this accident happened. I was just one of those kids. I didn't care about school, didn't care about life. Life wasn't promising for me. Mom was doing her best to make ends meet, raising all 4 of her kids on her own. She wasn't educated, so she didn't have a professional job or, professional pay or anything like that. So, I was just, whatever. Fast forward to my sophomore year, a group of guys, because we lived in a trailer park, group of guys, one guy decided he was going to go and join this church, get into church. And when he did that, it was about the time they were taking the annual trip to Kings Island. So we got invited to on that church trip. Pretty excited to go. Didn't really have the money. And one of the few times that my dad did send money, was able, allowed me to be able to go on this trip. At the same time, my mom's sister had won a trip to Jamaica. So she was going to take my mom, my other Aunt Louise, and herself. They were all going to go to Jamaica. They were leaving that Sunday. The church trip was on a Saturday. And, we're getting ready to go. My nephew was born on that Wednesday, or Thursday. And he stayed in the hospital. This is back when they still kept you in the hospital for a couple of days to make sure everything was all right. So he came home that Friday night. So, and I was out with some friends, spent the night at a friend's house so we could all get up and go. Well, we were still in the trailer park, and I wanted to go see my nephew before we left. It's my first nephew, and I was pretty excited about that. So we did that, went by the house and saw him, and then we walked on over to the church. And there's 2 buses there. There's a newer bus and there's an older bus. So people were jumping on both buses, thinking we're taking both buses, because it was 67 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they come out and tell us, no, we're taking this bus, which was the older bus. I believe it was a 77 Ford bus. And, so we all load on that bus, get cramped in, and, 3 to a seat, 4, even. So buses weren't, you couldn't feel the capacity of the buses like you can today.
Yeah.
But we, there was coolers, we had coolers in the aisles and things like that. So,
you're going to Kings Island.
We set up, and nobody thinks about what could happen. We're just ready to go have fun.
Right.
Well, we're driving. We get up into Cincinnati, and everybody's getting more and more excited because we're getting close to the theme park to set about our day. Go out. We have fun that day. Load back up to come back home. We stopped to fuel the bus, and then on the way back, I had fallen asleep.
It's dark out.
It's dark. Heading down I-71. And I had fallen asleep because I wore myself out that day, right? All the roller coasters, water rides, and all of that. What's funny is we lived in Columbus all that time, and never once had I gone to Kings Island. And then we come to Kentucky, and my first trip to Kings Island. But like I said, we were on our way home, and I've fallen asleep, and next thing I know is I hear this loud pow, and I get up, I hear people screaming. I get up and I start walking toward the back of the bus, and I run into a crowd, and you could hear flames shooting down the aisle of the bus. And at the time I was sophomore, so I was 6'3" at that time. And then I bumped into that crowd, and then I passed out from smoke inhalation. Because the bus filled with smoke, pretty quick. So,
So bam, boom, as soon as they hit, flames everywhere.
Flames everywhere.
Because if I remember right, it was a gas tank on them models, just them certain models, was right where he hit.
In the front, right?
Well, it was in the front. It was right behind the door of the entrance door into the bus.
Okay.
It was right behind that door. So we got hit basically on the passenger side front.
Right where the gas tank is.
And Ford was supposed to recall the buses and put cages around those gas tanks to protect them. And they missed on this one.
Yeah.
So that crash caused the metal to scrape the fuel tank, which set the bus on fire.
Sad story, man. Sad story.
Oh, very sad story, because it's Hardin County is a small community. It's a community where everybody pretty much knows everybody. Mm-hmm. But you still, going on that trip, I met a lot of people that day.
Yeah.
Sad thing is, a lot of those people that I met that day are no longer here.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that day they died?
That day they died.
So there were 67 people on there. How many lived?
40.
40. So 27 people
27
died.
people died. 24 kids and 3 adults.
Wow. Such a sad story. And you was one of the lucky ones. Not only is you got fire everywhere, everybody's trying to get out, but the paint was melting off the ceiling, from what I understand, and burning you guys, just dripping on you and burning you. Yeah. So everything that's, along with everything that's going on, man, such a sad story.
Such a sad story. Well, there's a lot to go into play of the fire, because, the material that the seats were made out of was highly flammable.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Things like that. So
this has changed a lot of laws.
Man, it has. It's probably saved a lot of kids.
Changed a lot of laws. We have, on that bus, there was the only way to get in and out was the front door or the back door.
Yeah.
So
obviously
now,
the front door is covered in fire.
Front door's blocked because of the fire. Back door, and the way I understood it, of course I passed out and don't know, but the way I understand it is that back door got jammed, and they had a hard time getting it open.
Man, such a sad day. So a lot of people that don't know and have never heard this story, look it up. All you got to do is Google Carrollton bus crash. Crazy story. It's changed how they build buses totally. It's a really, really wild situation, and it was the wrong day at the wrong time with the wrong bus, and a drunk driver came across the other side of the highway and hit the bus pretty much head on. doing 70 or 80 mile an hour, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know the total speed, but he was, at the time, the legal limit was like .10, and I think he blew like a .28. So it was almost 3 times the legal limit at the time.
Was he the only driver in his
He was
car?
only driver.
He survived.
Vehicle. He survived. Yes.
He survived. Now he got sentenced to a big sentence, right? And
Well, he was sentenced to, at the time, vehicle homicide was not a law, and so he got some wanton endangerment and manslaughter charges. He was sentenced to 16 years. He could have been paroled, and they chose not to do parole because he could get out. If he were denied his parole, he would have to serve the full 16. But he would get out in less time with good behavior if he just foregone his parole hearing, which is what he did.
So is he still in prison?
No, he's out.
He's out.
He is out.
And have you ever had any kind of interaction? Have you looked him up? Have you thought about calling him?
I would like to talk to him, but he has pretty much made it known that he doesn't want to be bothered.
Okay.
So I'm not going to bother the man.
Yeah.
I think he's dealt with enough.
Respect, yeah.
But, we still deal with it too.
Absolutely.
So, I think an explanation is owed to us, some kind of something, but, leave it in God's hands.
Do you have any interaction with the people that you were on the bus with that survived?
Oh, yeah. We still kind of get together from time to time. Usually around anniversary time, we'll get together. A good friend of mine, Quentin Higgins, he bought a replica of the bus. And he drives, it's like a mobile museum, really.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And he's starting to really, really get out there. If you walk up to the bus, there's got a QR code, you can scan the QR code and get a lot of the story.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we made a documentary. It's called Impact After the Crash.
Okay.
You can find it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Don't know that I can say that.
let's take a little break, and we'll come right back and we'll get to the end of this, and we got a lot more to this story, so we'll be right back.
Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about it. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, leave us a review. We really appreciate any of that. It helps us keep going and making more content for you. Thank you for giving us a little part of your day, and let's get back to the show.
All right, everybody, we're back. We're back with Darrin Jaquess, and so let's kind of get into the good side now. We got a little down there. Everybody teared up, had to take a little break. Let's get into the good side. Man, the law changes, like the buses. They changed how the buses are made altogether. Like you said, the seats are different now. The paint they use on the ceiling's different. The gas tanks are secured in a different place. That changed.
Well, they're all diesel now.
Yeah.
So you can only get diesel and propane.
Man, the differences it makes. So the really good stuff that they've changed, and then that's about was the start of Mothers Against Drunk Driving too, right, Mad?
They've been around, but they really ramped up about that time. In fact, one of the ladies that lost the youngest kid that was on the bus, she became the national president of MAD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
The changes so things, because back in the day there really wasn't frowned upon that much of people drinking alcohol and driving cars.
Correct.
It was not that you wouldn't get in trouble, but it wasn't like it is now, and it really brought a lot of awareness, not only to that, but everybody drinking and driving. It made it more criminal. It made more charges, and it made people realize more what kind of is going on.
Impacted.
Yeah.
Driving drunk.
So
driving.
when you really look at the whole outlook of things, man, such a horrible accident, but it really changed things.
What's the biggest thing that you think has changed?
in terms of the laws, in terms of
laws.
The biggest thing in laws, I think it's more of a progressive thing with drinking and driving. In fact, now that this has happened, you can be charged with vehicular homicide.
Okay.
Which you know, in some cases, it's really good for that, you know, law to be in place because,
Absolutely.
you know, I mean, you're wiping out an entire family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it brought a lot of awareness that people didn't see before that, I guess. But it's been a lot of good changes, and your life has changed a lot since then. Like I said in the beginning, we all of us kind of came from humble beginnings, man, so we watched each other grow. It's been wild. So now you've went through all that. This is the craziest thing. You drove a bus
Yeah,
for how many years after that? You was a bus driver for years after that.
I was a bus
for the
driver.
same county, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so that's kind of a crazy part of the story. Now, what would make you want to be a bus driver after that?
You know, they say we're all here for a reason. And I, you know, have a lot of questions. What is my purpose? What am I here for? And for whatever reason, it keeps leading me back to kids.
Yeah.
You know, through having kids of my own, coaching kids, influencing kids, and things like that. And, you know, being a survivor of the nation's worst drunken driving accident and driving a school bus, I mean, you get to really, really, really impact kids in a different way and make them understand the reasoning for the rules,
Yeah.
and the safety.
Yeah.
What's the craziest story you have as a bus driver? I know those kids go crazy after school. They're all ramped up.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm 6'8", and you know, I guess can be intimidating.
Yeah.
But I got stuck on an alternative school route, you know, and some of those kids who think that they are big and bad and things like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, just being able to shut them down and make them understand that, you know, you're not as bad as you think you are.
Right.
Buddy.
Right.
When you're a man, you learn that in life,
Yeah, you
especially
learn
our
that.
time we
That's
grew
right.
up.
Yeah.
You might be bad, but there's always somebody better.
There's always somebody
Yeah.
better. You know, my basketball coach, we had one of the kids smart off to him one day. And I'll never forget this. And I've used this as a bus driver. You know, he was telling him, hey, you know, I will do this to you. And the kid said, well, you think you bad, don't you? He said, no, I don't think I'm bad, but the bad don't mess with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used that one.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And you coach too, right?
And I coach
Yeah.
basketball as well at
That's
my
amazing.
alma mater.
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, you coach and always involved with the kids. I'm proud of you on that. I'm proud of we watched you grow as a. That's what's great about your whole story is it don't have to always be down. You can always come up no matter what you've been through because you've been through some stuff most people never see in their life, and you've still been successful.
Yeah,
I'm proud
so
of you, man.
I
I
wanna
watched you grow.
Go back a little bit on the story. You know, like I said, prior to the accident, I didn't really care about school, and you know, life was just it is what it was. And you know, of course, after the accident, you know, some things changed in my life, which pretty much made me have to grow up overnight. So then I became, you know, a person that cared more about life, that cared more about making the most of what you have. And, you know, it got me back into playing basketball and getting, you know, because through my injuries, I had a lot of smoke inhalation, so my lungs were pretty much damaged. Got a burn here, which they thought that I would never be able to use my right hand again. And even told me I would lose sight in, you know, my eyes and I wouldn't be able to see. And one thing that I would encourage people is, you know, there's always something that says you can't do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that all depends upon you. You know, I went on to play college basketball,
Yeah.
you know, getting that kind of information. So, you know, I wasn't going to let that stop me from being successful.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, I've seen you still got a little game in you.
Yeah, I got a little bit of
You
that.
know.
I got a little left in the tank.
Little pickleball. Little pickleball. We should have a pickleball match. We're gonna do this, and we'll film an update, and $200, whatever charity you want. If I win, I'll donate $200 to your charity. If you win, we'll both donate $200 to your charity.
That'll work.
Or I said that backwards, didn't I?
Well, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
If I win, if me and Nellie win, we both donate back. If you and Terry win, I'll donate $200 to your charity. Charity of your choice. We'll have a little fun with it. People be waiting for a recap. It'll be good and fun. And our games are pretty neck and neck. So maybe we'll live stream it or something.
You're gonna have to hit the gym, Baker. He's been working out.
I know. I'm gonna have to get back in the game.
Yeah.
But we'll be south for long. We're pickleball capital of the world. So
there you go.
We'll get a little practice in the meantime.
Dude.
I'll get a good 7-8 days of that. So
Yeah, we're coming. We're gonna have some fun. So like now, we was kind of getting into that. You're man, you've come up pretty good. You got married, got a few rentals, got your lake gig, real estate. You know, you got into real estate. We kind of teach that a little bit, and we try to help our friends and family about real estate investing and buying investment properties. And you've got a few of them now. Things are coming around, rentals.
What's your favorite one you have right now? Your favorite property?
Favorite property I have right now?
Yeah.
Well, obviously my lake house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stay here on the lake a lot. I've had this sinus infection. That's the only bad part about the lake is the sinuses.
Yeah.
Oh man, everything grows down here. But you know, when you can look at that lake every day, it makes life a little more tolerable. And
It did. You know, you told me back prior to me coming to the lake for the first time. You said, man, when I hit the WK, it's like all my problems go away.
Yeah.
And the first time we came down, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta. That's what people don't realize, man. There's hard work in this world, but you gotta have that downtime. Yeah. I'll make better decisions and work harder after a vacation. And
change your coordinates sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta move around, have some fun, and we grow with that. It's always hard work. That's the only way you get there, and that's the difference. To me, that's the difference between people that have a successful life and people don't, is the effort you put in. And man, I try to teach so many people that just will not do the work. And you hate to be negative that way, but
Wow.
well,
Welcome to the lake, folks.
yeah, welcome to the lake.
Yeah.
Gunshots fired. Oh, that'll probably really get taken down from YouTube.
No, that was just hunting. It's hunting
Somebody
season.
hunting season down here at the lake.
It's hunting season. Nothing bad.
And,
They're below the red line. Everything's okay.
yeah, so it's muzzleloader season
Go
down
to the
here.
lake, they said. It'll be safe.
But you know, spending time on the lake, on the boats, man, and little fishing, doing things like that.
Having a community
Oh,
that
well.
likes to provide the food for you.
Provide the food for you. It's the lake to me. And as a teenage boy, I've had friends that's always had boats and always went to lake. Always had the invitation.
Your
and never
grandpa
went.
has a place down here, right? No, your kid's grandpa. Your
My kid's grandfather.
ex-father-in-law.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I've always had an opportunity to come to lake, and I never would come.
yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm not a very good swimmer.
You're getting there, though.
Was afraid of what could happen or whatever,
Yeah.
but finally Larry twisted my arm hard enough and got me to come down, and it's like an addiction, I mean,
Yeah.
you just want to be here. It's so peaceful. The people in this community, they treat you better than your family sometimes.
Yes, true that.
So, I mean, it's good people. It's good people everywhere, especially here.
Yeah, it's like family. Our little neighborhood is awesome here, and I love it. The people.
It's a secret. Shh.
Yeah, don't tell nobody.
There's only a couple
we ain't
lots
gotta tell
left.
them
We're good.
we ain't gotta tell them where we're at.
But it's
We
fine.
ain't gotta tell them where we're at.
Don't drop a pin.
Oh man, but yeah, I love it down here, and I think there's a big lesson to this whole episode. Of man, everybody's got a story, and a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Everybody's been through it. Very, very, very few people in this country are literally raised with a silver spoon. Most of them are hardworking Americans that just want to do the right things, and a lot of them don't know how. And hopefully, we can teach a lot of them over time in this podcast. That's what we're trying to do. and all grow together, man. All grow together. I know I've grown a lot from things you taught me, and I hope I've taught you things
absolutely.
absolutely I have. And you just
you know, the biggest thing with real estate is people are afraid of taking the plunge.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're afraid of jumping in and just taking the risk. You know, and
You got to be in that whole mindset though, because sometimes things get tight. Sometimes you're doing a project and it takes a little more of your funds than you thought, and sometimes there's that one project you know has got money in the end, and it's going to draw you
Just
thin.
can't let go of it.
But you just have to do it,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the only way to grow. And you're right, that's the biggest problem.
It's
People are
it's a
scared to
risk,
make
and
that jump.
People are afraid.
Buy
to
your first rental. If you can get that 1-1 rule, if a house is 120, try to get that 1,200 rent. If you can do that, and they'll ROI like that, buy everyone you can get your
Buy
house
everyone
done,
you can get
Absolutely.
your hands on, and that's. But there's so much more to that as far as, you know.
Yeah, that's the
getting into
basic
that.
rule.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it
1%
is.
rule.
You know, and my wife
Yeah.
was she's always wanted to do something like that, and then, you know, obviously when she met me, being, you know, in the real estate industry, and, you know, I guess one of the lessons I've learned from being a survivor from the bus crash is, you know, I know life can be taken from you in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'm gonna live my life today and
Yeah.
worry about tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, you know, we bought our first one together, our first rental together, sight unseen.
Sight unseen, because
Sight
you did the
unseen.
numbers and you're like, it makes sense.
Well,
we'll
we did
just
the
do it.
numbers. It made sense, and we had talked about it. We've been talking about it, and we thought about, you know, where it would be, what, you know. So this one popped up. I sent it to her. She took a look at it and said, "Yeah, let's look at that." Well, life happens, and, you know, we got busy and never did look at it, and we were happened to be down here getting ready to go play pickleball with you all.
Yeah.
And, you know, she asked me, she said, what do we ever do about that? You know, what did we ever decide? And I said, you know, oh shoot, we didn't do anything. So
Let's
I
revisit.
looked it up, and it's still available. I called the real estate agent, and the real estate agent gave me a whole lot more information than I needed. And
Which is beneficial sometimes.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
sometimes they can
Absolutely.
get a real estate agent in
And-
trouble.
no, I won't say any names, but we decided to write that offer sitting on the couch, and I sent it to her to sign. I signed it. We leave to go play pickleball. I hadn't sent it to the agent, and the agent calls me in the middle of the game, and I'm like, hey, you know, what's up?
remember
And she's
this,
like,
yeah.
are you going to send that offer? We need a timeout from pickleball so I can send that offer. And, you know, fortunately enough, it got accepted, and we still, I mean, for another week, we still didn't go look at it.
Yeah.
And, you know, finally I was like, you know, we need to go look at this house. So we went over and looked at it, not knowing what we were going to find and what, you know, what we were going to see.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be beneficial, you know.
Better than you thought.
Better than I
does, man.
thought. You know, we had to change some floors in a couple of rooms. We didn't have to paint. We did a lot of scrubbing and cleaning.
Yeah. Elbow grease.
Elbow grease, changed some light fixtures and some blinds, and got her, you know, posted it, got a renter within a week.
Nice.
So she felt better about that.
Yep.
And
Now this is the thing. Every month, they're paying your payment, and your balance is going down. And every day you're on that property, that value is going up just a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Yeah.
So in time, when people say they want to retire, I mean, this is a great way to grow wealth.
Absolutely.
Every property, you know, for the most part, they're going to go up 4 or 5% a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they may go down a point or two a year. Sometimes they may go
But
up
history
15.
shows from day
You're
one.
going to average 4 or
5%.
5% over time, and it even, you know, at our age, holding a property for 10 years can be a whole lot of money when you go to
Oh,
retire.
absolutely.
So just having that rental, the best, I always say it, the best kind of real estate to own is the one somebody else is paying
somebody else
for.
is paying for.
And
Yeah.
You know, if you can own a bunch of them and let somebody else pay the payment, it's a win-win. You grow your empire. And right now we're seeing a little downturn, so picking up some properties cheap.
Now's the time.
Cheaper.
Cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper. Nothing's cheap in this world
cheap.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
More affordable. How about that?
Yeah, right. More affordable. Get a little more for your money. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, I think there is a lesson about all this. What do you take of how your life has changed over time, and what?
You know, my uncle and he's my great uncle. He was the first elected black sheriff in the state of Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, a couple years ago, he was in a nursing home, and I told myself I need to go see him. And you know, Terry and I we were headed to Texas. We drove to Texas. We were gonna stop in Memphis, spend the night, and get up and drive the rest of the way. We get in the car and Terry says, "We're going this way because you're going to see your uncle."
Fantastic.
So we go in and we stop in to see my uncle. And, you know, I won't give the whole story, but he just looked at me and he said, "This is no way to live. This is no way to live." I said, "Uncle Bill, I understand, I know." He said, "No, Darrin," he said, "what I'm telling you is, go live your life.
Yeah.
Don't dwell on the little things. Live your life."
Amen.
That's what you got to do. And I've met your kids, man. You did a hell of a job. Great
appreciate
kids. They got goals and dreams in life, and they're going towards them, and they're doing the right things.
They
and,
respect you.
Yep.
They love you. You have
They
an
respect
amazing
everybody.
relationship with them.
They respect everybody. Really
Right.
good kids. It's really, really.
It's beautiful.
You know, that's a product of the influential people in my life. You know, my grandfather, you know,
Right.
he demanded respect. You know, my Uncle Bill, he demanded respect. Those were pretty much the male figures that I had in my life that I had to, you know,
Answer
mirror my
to.
life off of.
Yeah.
You know, this, you know, how do I want to be when I grow up? Do I, you know, just want to be mediocre? Do I want to be impactful? You know, what do I want to be? You know, and I try to influence everybody, you know.
And the more successful your stature gets a lot of attention no matter where we go.
Yeah.
If we go to a bar or a restaurant or whatever.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're a big boy. For some reason, everybody wants to talk to Darrin. And that's cool, man. It draws a lot of attention. So you got a big voice. You know, you got a big following of people you get to talk to, and you change a lot of people's visions in life. It's pretty cool, man. You've got a good story.
Yeah, you know, my height is definitely a conversation piece.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, especially with kids, because they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
who are you? You got to be somebody, you got, you know, and things like that, which I play along with them. You know, sometimes, yeah, it gets old hearing, well, how tall are you? You know,
Yeah.
and it does get old, but at the same time, you know, ignorance is bliss. You know, people don't, you know, if they don't know, they don't know. And if they don't ask, they really not going to know.
Yeah,
So,
do that.
Yeah. It's funny because we go out and everybody assumes, they say, "Oh, you had to play basketball," and you say, "No, I was a jockey." it really messes them up. They don't know what to think when you say things like that. Everybody just looks at you like, "What?"
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah, this ain't gonna work. He's bigger than the horse.
I have a
Feet
lot
be
of
dragging the ground.
So,
Yeah, we had fun, man. We had fun, and you got to have fun in life. Like I said in the beginning, you got to have fun. You got to have that downtime, and that's what makes life good, man. Life good. Thank you for coming to see us. I think
I've got
Nellie had
one more
one more question
question.
she wanted to ask.
uh-oh.
If you could write your own headline, what would it say?
Probably just from nothing to something.
That's cool.
Heck yeah.
That's cool.
You know, I mean, you know, like you said, I get a lot of attention. I get a lot of, you know, because of my height. Mm-hmm. So what do I do with that? I could be a total jerk about it and be like, "Get away from me! You don't want to talk to." I'm tired of hearing that. I could do that, or I could smile at somebody and make their day
Absolutely.
and be more influential.
Absolutely.
And it helps with real estate too.
It does. Gets you a lot of attention.
Well, that smile helps too.
Yeah.
It's a pretty smile.
You need a house around E-Town, Nolan Lake, give Darrin a call.
Yeah.
But
And one thing I want to add to that is, I know we started out, about the nation's first drunken driving accident, and I do want to add something, and just so you understand from a survivor standpoint, people think about being at the lake, they think about the parties, the drinking, and all of that stuff. I'm not against drinking at all.
yeah,
I am against being irresponsible.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So, and I think for the, being able to speak for the vast majority of the survivors, I think it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
Just being responsible. You know you're going to do it, park it.
you're a very forgiving guy, and that, me and you, that's one reason I became, the bromance started, I guess. But a lot of people can't debate like me and you.
Right.
We don't get mad. That's
No.
what the country's got to get away from.
Yeah, correct.
You have conversations so you both grow and you both learn.
Yeah.
And them conversations can be tough, but you got to have them, and you don't lose friends over a disagreement about something silly. And
Something you can't change anyway.
you can, and even about politics, I promise you, them people are not going to lose a friend for you.
No.
Yeah.
They're not.
And
So
And you're not gonna change
they're all
it
friends watching
either.
us be silly and argue it.
yeah, all right, right. So we got to come together, and that's what I love about our whole story. We sometimes we've had together. The concert we had here, we won't mention who it was. The concert we had here, the first one, we built this barn here on the lake, and watching you in there dance, and I mean, dude, we had some great times.
Great.
And,
Niece with us,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those-
singing.
singing
That was
the
the best.
kid parts, that was awesome. More people need to learn to enjoy life like that, and if we can teach more people how to be self-sufficient and grow while investing, and that's the biggest mistake people make. That Gucci bag is not paying you a commission, and it's gonna
That you put on your credit card and pay 29%
Yeah,
interest on.
correct.
yeah.
Let's not.
And that's the mistakes people make. You got to put your money in places that benefit you down the life. Growing is something you do today to make tomorrow better, but instant gratification don't happen. You got to work towards it all the time. And
it's just like having a gym membership. People think they go to the gym and work out hard one day and they should see results.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
You gotta
don't
use
have
it.
So real estate is a great tool, but it takes a while to build the clientele.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got into real estate in 2010 and sold one deal the whole year. Next deal I sold 3. The next year I sold 3. So, it's growing and building up that clientele. It's just
It's making relationships,
it's-
building relationships with people.
Absolutely.
That's really the key, is having good relationships with.
well, and people look at realtors like they're all about the money and this and that. Well, I will be best advice I can give a new real estate agent is if you do it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong
Amen.
reasons.
Yeah.
Because it isn't.
Well, if you do the right thing, the money will come, right?
Absolutely.
So you treat people like people, and you don't treat them for what their pocketbook can do for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every deal, every person, every client is different, and they all have different needs. You have
Yes.
to listen,
Absolutely.
understand their needs,
Well, you
and
got to
help
be a
them
counselor.
solve the
You got to be
problem.
a coach.
yeah.
You got you got
Oh
to
yeah.
be every
Take
bit of
phone
it, all
calls
the way.
at 10
Yeah.
o'clock at night and
Yeah.
cry with them and.
Oh, absolutely.
The best part is when they realize that you're the professional and they take your advice, and then they win. They get a good deal on a house, or they get way more than they thought on their house, or things that you can coach them how to do, and that's the best part. And the first time buyers, you gotta love the first time buyers.
Absolutely.
Oh,
They're
listen,
so
I
happy.
got a story on a first-time home buyer. This lady, she was probably, I think she was 37, 38 years old. Never in a million years thought she would be able to buy a house. I was, dealing with foreclosures, and we had one listed in Horse Cave, and that's where she lived. She lived right around the corner from this house. And, you know, she calls me up and she's like, you know, everybody's telling me I need to do this, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna, you know, see what I can do. So I went down and showed her the house, walked her through the process. And when she got that clear to close, that lady came from Horse Cave to Radcliffe, Kentucky to just give me a hug.
Oh,
That stuff's great, man. Them first
is
time
the
buyers.
best.
I would never forget that.
And that
that is the best.
things have changed. You can have some credit issues and still buy a house. It might take a little longer,
Absolutely.
but things have changed. Everybody should buy a house. Don't. Everything we taught here today is you're buying us a house.
Right.
You're
Right.
buying us
Right.
a house because
Yeah.
we're the investors.
Yeah.
Step up, get with a realtor, buy your own house. I don't even know if I can say that. Get with a
Yeah.
real estate agent. But yeah. So, man, I appreciate you coming on here.
I
What a
appreciate
fun
it.
time. We'll do some more stuff. We're gonna live stream this pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do that in the spring. We'll get some pickleball. Maybe we'll do it in Florida while you're
Right,
down there in
that-
December.
Perfect. Perfect.
We gotta hit the gym. Got to.
Yeah, because you know my wife's a gym rat.
And when she knows there's a competition, she's gonna be on it.
Yeah.
And trust me, if she don't go to the gym, I know it. So
Right?
It's a win-win.
keep her in the gym.
That's
Make a
right.
little money for charity and
Yeah.
have some fun. All right, brother.
All right,
Thank you, man. I
Thank you,
appreciate it,
Darrin.
Darrin.
Absolutely, man. Love you, brother.
Brother, we do.
I don't want to shock you. I know I'm gonna shock
You're not
you.
going to shock me.
Thanks for coming on, man.
All
That's
right.
cool.
Appreciate
stuff,
it,
bro.
guy.
Man, this next episode's a doozy. People really got to tune in.
True.
Guys, you got to pay attention. We got some crazy stuff going on, some wild stories. I promise you don't want to miss it. The It's Me, Larry B podcast with the beautiful Miss Nellie. See you again.
It's me, Larry B. Media. Hooray!
That was really good. Did a good job.